Good evening, friends, and welcome. So glad you could join us for Bedtime Biographies, where together we unwind and drift away to the captivating and sometimes chilling accounts of history's most formidable figures. Before we begin, a quick thought. If these dark yet mesmerizing tales help you unwind or keep you deliciously unsettled, please consider liking this video and subscribing. It helps other curious minds discover these haunting histories, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Who do you think was the most terrifying ruler of all? Let us know in the comments below, and who you'd like us to explore next in our shadowed chronicles. Tonight, we step into the gilded halls of power, where crowns rest heavy on ruthless brows and ambition knows no mercy. The air is thick with intrigue, whispers of poison, betrayal, and iron. Fisted rule echo through palace corridors. These are the stories of queens who wielded power with a cruelty that still sends shivers down the spine of history. Now, to speak of queens is to summon visions of velvet gloves hiding daggers, of piety masking persecution, of mothers who would sooner blind their sons than share a throne. These women were architects of fear, their reigns painted in blood and fire. But strip away the legend, and their stories are ones of ruthless survival, of what happens when ambition meets absolute power, unchecked by conscience. Of course, their legacies are written in ash and scarlet, the screams of martyrs, the silence of poisoned cups, the cold calculus of political murder. But tonight, we're not just here for the horrors. We're here to trace the paths that led them there, the betrayals that hardened them, the power they craved, and the lines they crossed to keep it. And now, as the night grows still, let's pull back the tapestry of history to meet the women who ruled with terror. This is Bedtime Biographies, and these are the 9 most evil queens the world has ever known. Chapter 1. The Unwanted Princess and Her Grudge. The midwife barely had time to wipe the blood from her hands before Henry came crashing into the chamber, his hunting boots tracking mud across Catherine of Aragon's fine Spanish carpets. He scooped up the squalling February baby with the enthusiasm of a man who'd been waiting 9 months for a living heir, never mind that this one happened to be a girl. "My pearl!" he bellowed, making the tapestries flutter. The courtiers exchanged glances. This was either going to be the most spoiled child in Christendom, or the most disappointed. Mary's nursery looked like a cathedral, and a toy shop had a baby. Venetian glass mobiles tinkled above a crib lined with ermine. Her first rattle was solid silver, because apparently regular wood wasn't fancy enough for the daughter of Europe's most insecure monarch. Catherine, remembering her own strict upbringing, compensated by turning the nursery into what we'd now call an enriched learning environment. If your idea of enrichment includes Latin tutors before breakfast and theology debates with visiting bishops. By age 4, Mary could curtsy, conjugate verbs, and identify every saint in her illuminated prayer book. Her music tutor claimed she had the hands of an angel and the ear of a devil, which sounds impressive until you realize this basically means she was the Tudor equivalent of a kid who corrects your guitar chords at parties. The Spanish ambassador wrote home that she could discuss military strategy better than most generals, though he might have been buttering up Catherine's parents. Henry adored showing off his living proof of virility. During state visits, Mary would perform like a trained parrot, reciting poetry, discoursing on philosophy, or playing the virginals with her tiny feet dangling above the pedals. London's commoners, catching glimpses of the golden-haired princess during processions, called her the Little Queen and tossed flowers in her path. It was all going so well, which, in Tudor terms, meant disaster was imminent. The cracks started showing when Mary turned 11. Catherine's womb had become a mausoleum of stillbirths, and Henry's eye had wandered to a certain sharp-tongued lady-in-waiting who wore her French hoods at accidentally provocative angles. The king, who once called Mary his pearl, now barely looked at her. First came the separate household for her education, Tudor code for "we're getting rid of you." Then the legal maneuvers, the secret trials, and finally the proclamation declaring her illegitimate. Mary's new life was a masterclass in royal humiliation. The girl who once dined off gold plate now ate from pewter in drafty country houses. Her jewels were confiscated, her servants reduced to 3, and, the ultimate indignity, she was forced to serve in baby Elizabeth's household. Imagine your dad divorces your mum to marry his mistress, then makes you babysit their love child. Tudor family values at their finest. Mary responded with the Tudor equivalent of passive-aggressive sticky notes. She refused to call Elizabeth princess, refused to acknowledge Anne as queen, and scratched Mary Regina into a window pane at Hatfield House, a graffiti tag that can still be seen today. Her stubbornness earned her locked doors and meals of stale bread. Courtiers who once scrambled to carry her train now pretended not to see her. Only her old nurse dared whisper news of Catherine, exiled and dying, writing letters begging Mary to stay strong. When Anne's head rolled off the executioner's block, Mary allowed herself a moment of schadenfreude. But Henry's next wife, Jane Seymour, promptly produced the son he'd always wanted, the sickly Edward. Mary played the dutiful sister, bouncing the baby on her knee while secretly mourning the mother who died alone. The parade of stepmothers that followed. The German Princess Henry found too ugly. The teenager who cheated on him. The widow who outlived him. Taught Mary everything about how women survived in Tudor England. Edward VI's reign brought fresh torments. The boy king's Protestant advisers banned the Latin masses Mary loved, replacing ornate rituals with what amounted to Tudor megachurch services. She held secret Catholic rites in her chambers, the smoke of forbidden incense seeping under doors as spies lurked outside. When commissioners came to enforce the reforms, they found Mary kneeling before a crucifix, with her household armed with candlesticks, the 16th century version of "come and take it." The stress manifested in migraines so severe her physicians prescribed powdered unicorn horn, actually narwhal tusk, and emerald potions that tasted like regret. Some nights she dreamed of nursery lullabies, only to wake coughing in a damp bedchamber, the metallic taste of blood in her mouth. Then came July 1553. A midnight messenger arrived with news that Edward was dead and Lady Jane Grey named Queen. 37 years old, her auburn hair streaked with silver, Mary acted with sudden decisiveness. She rode through the night to rally supporters, her chronic pains forgotten in the rush of destiny. The people remembered Henry's golden girl. Within 9 days, London's streets were strewn with rose petals for the queen they'd never stopped seeing as legitimate. As the crown touched her head at the coronation, Mary closed her eyes against the incense. Not the cheap Protestant stuff, but proper Catholic frankincense that smelled like childhood. The little girl who'd practiced curtsies before mirrors was gone. In her place stood a queen forged by betrayal, ready to drag England back to Rome with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Chapter 2. Bonfire Night. Every night.